Welcome to the Beyond the Years podcast, a podcast about all things Disney. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I am Josh, your host, and as always, I am joined by the lovely Ashley.
Hello, hello. So we are still in our trip to Disney World countdown. As of today, we are 54 days out from our trip. And we've since we talked to you guys last, we booked our dining reservations.
Yep.
And so
and bought our magic bands.
Yes, we finally bought the magic bands. We did it the night we recorded the last episode. So we finally did that. But I figured before we get into the topic of today's show, which is obviously going to be things we would change if we could at Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
Got a few things we could talk about, but really it's going to be more of like an open discussion.
Okay, what do you got?
Well, first I wanted to talk about the dining reservations we got.
Oh, okay.
To let everyone know, our travel agent Megan was able to get up super early, and she went ahead and booked all of our dining for us. I highly recommend if you're going to Disney World and you're not 100% sure what to do, get a travel agent. They are free. Disney World pays them, or whatever travel agency they work through pays them commission on your trip. So you don't have to pay them. The travel agency
Pays
or
them.
Disney World pays them.
Yeah.
So just really nice.
It's just handy.
Really nice to have. So anyway, dining reservations. Let me figure out what I'm even doing here on this app. Okay, so arrival day, we're driving from Missouri. So it's going to be a long travel day on Friday, and then Saturday we are going to arrive probably mid-afternoon, and we have decided that first day we just want to do Disney Springs.
Yep. Nice
and relaxed environment. We can shop, kind of get our feet wet with Disney, but we have a lunch reservation at T-Rex Cafe middle of the day. And that was one of the ones that was like non-negotiable. We have to get this because Josh and I got to eat there 5 years ago when we went, and it was just the most amazing experience.
So they're probably not going to have the scallop thing that we liked anymore.
Probably not. But so that's going to be the very first day, T-Rex. We didn't do a ton of dining because we are planning on getting like a lot of quick service and a lot of snack options just because food is so expensive. Okay, and then the day that we are going to Magic Kingdom, we are doing Be Our Guest lunch. We wanted breakfast, but I didn't realize at the time they didn't do breakfast anymore, which is such a bummer.
I don't think she said anymore. They're not doing it currently.
Oh, well, that sucks. Because the breakfast was amazing. We really enjoyed it. But we'll settle for lunch. We really wanted that experience of Grayson getting to go into the Beast Castle. I think that'll be super fun for him. And then that same night, we're going to go to Skipper Canteen, which is in Adventureland in Magic Kingdom. I've heard really wonderful things about it. I've never been there. So
what is it? What's food there? Do you know?
No idea. I mean, I've looked at menus of all of these places, but off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you exactly. We are doing Boma breakfast the day that we're going to Animal Kingdom, but we're doing like a really late breakfast so that we can go to Animal Kingdom in the morning, get like a snack, and then ride a couple of the rides, and then go get breakfast at Boma, which is an Animal Kingdom lodge. Again, that was a place that we wanted to get to experience with Grayson. It's just a beautiful resort. So we wanted to go there, and we haven't got to try the breakfast before. So I'm really excited about that. And then the last dining reservation we have is for Ohana's breakfast at the Polynesian Resort, which I've never actually got to go to the Polynesian or Ohana. But our travel agent Megan said it was her favorite.
Yeah, her favorite breakfast place.
Yeah, so we got all of the reservations that we wanted, and I think it's just gonna be great.
Yeah, I agree.
We're definitely gonna do a lot of snacking, especially at Epcot, because we're going during Food and Wine Festival. So they'll have a lot of booths open for food. So lots of snacks those days. We are planning on eating breakfast at our resort a couple of the days.
Yeah.
They've got good options for breakfast. And I mean, we're just going to kind of play it by ear. There's plenty of food to choose from at Disney World. Just with the table service, you have to make those reservations in advance. So
We're eating dinner at Skipper Canteen, or are we eating lunch?
dinner.
Okay. I'm just looking up what the dinner looks like because I had never even heard of it until you said, like, oh, we're going to go here. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess we're going there. But I didn't even know, like, what it was.
Well, usually with Disney food, it's pretty mixed. Like certain people usually will love a restaurant, and then you have this other group of people who hate it. But Skipper Canteen, I've only ever heard good things about it.
It looks like pretty basic, like pork, chicken, lamb chops, like fish. I guess your normal American cuisine kind of stuff. But it's more like jungle. It's like tastes like chicken because it is. What is this? Chicken fried sweet chili glaze stir fry vegetables with jasmine rice. Ow, stuff like that.
Okay, so
I was really curious because I was like, oh, we booked a restaurant and we don't even know what's.
well, okay, that's not completely true. I had like looked at the menus and like listened to podcasts about all of these places before, but it's not something that kind of has stuck in my mind the past couple of weeks.
Okay. So, do we have anything else about our dining reservations, or is that it?
No, I think this is a good kind of segue into what we would change at Disney World, because in planning our vacation, we've come across a few different situations that if we could, we would change.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to start, or do you want me to? Because I've got quite a few.
Okay, you can, or I can start. But I do want to say at the end, I will be talking about something else that's happening right now.
Which is?
Well, we'll get to that at the end.
Okay.
But we'll get into the meat of the podcast now. So, the first thing I would change about Disney is the freaking parking. Pay for parking.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just talked about that a minute ago. And because we were like, well, we got to start thinking of like ideas of what you'd change. And I was like,
you didn't know that was a thing until I told you.
yeah, that's bull.
That's stupid.
It's bull. I mean, if we're going to pay, what, like $300 a night or whatever it is to be there.
So you're referring just to the parking at the Disney resorts, because you have to pay for parking at the parks as well. Unless you take Disney transportation, which we will be doing. So we're not going to have to pay for parking at the parks.
Well, that's bullcrap. Either way.
Yeah.
Maybe I would understand the parks, paying at the parks.
Yeah, I get that. But that's pretty common for theme parks.
However, if you're staying on resort,
yes,
I think it's crap that you have to pay $15 a day just to leave your car. Mm-hmm. Literally sitting there.
Mm-hmm. I know. I think that's one of those silly things that just relatively recently became a thing. And it's like, why? All of the Disney resorts have not only gone up in price post-COVID, but it's just expensive in general. So you're just making it even harder for people to get to go.
We'll probably go to Disney World this year, and next year we're not probably going to Disney World.
Well, definitely not. It'll probably take us another decade
to save up enough money. This might be like another, like this might be an every other year or every like 2 year kind of thing.
Or every 5? Are you kidding?
Well, I mean, are we really going to be able to make it another 5 years before we go? Because it's been that now.
Well, we're going to probably have to.
I mean, maybe.
We'll see.
But either way, I mean, you're just making it impossible for people to...
What are you doing over there?
You got so much crap underneath my seat. She has a YouTube channel and she's got like a tripod and everything is underneath my seat.
Well,
And I was-
because you and Grayson were digging in this closet over here the other day and had to move the chair forward. It probably fell over.
I don't know. He wasn't in the chair at one point.
It's a mess in here. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, the
Parking is expensive.
parking is expensive and it's kind of ridiculous. Especially, like I said, I can understand if you're going just to the park itself and having to pay, because people that live in Florida
Mm-hmm.
pay for their park day or whatever discount the Florida people get, kind of thing, for their park pass
Mm-hmm.
or for their ticket to the park, and then having to pay. I get that, but yeah, that's freaking crazy that we're literally staying on resort, going to use Disney transportation, I would say 90% of the time, and we still gotta pay.
Mm-hmm.
It's crap.
Completely agree. It's
Because that'll be like
$100 probably.
$100 something dollars to stay.
Just a park.
Yep. So-
Silly. Totally silly. Okay. I guess I will go.
You're gonna have probably more, because I really tried to think about what I would change, but it's hard for me to think about it until you start really
I'm
talking
trying
about
to
it.
be realistic in it is a business. They need to make money. I totally understand that. But it's Disney. They're making a lot of money. So they can change some things and still be highly profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And paying for parking at the resorts is ridiculous, considering 5 years ago, you didn't have to pay for parking at the resorts. And the resorts were so much cheaper 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's definitely something I think would be beneficial to change. The next thing for me, and I think most everyone is going to agree, Genie Plus and the whole Lightning Lane, the way they do fast passes now. It's just ridiculous. It just kind of sucks the magic out, and it makes it feel less like Disney. Because I feel like that's something that other parks do, where it's like, oh, let me just get on my phone and we can pay to skip the line. Where's the magic in that? It's not. I really think Disney did it right when they had their old fast pass system. It was free. I would be willing to pay for the old system that they had because I think it was so good. But at the time, it was free. You could book your fast passes, I think 90 days in advance, and there was 2 different tiers. So like the really high demand rides, so like your Frozen, Seven Dwarfs, your Frozen Ever After, those really high in demand rides would be like top tier. So you could only get one of those per day or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the other rides were second tier. So you could get, I think, 3 of those. 2 of those or 3 of those. I can't remember. It's been so long. But basically, you could set those fast passes. It would be a fast pass line and then your regular standby line.
Mm-hmm.
And so as long as you knew how to plan at least a little bit, you could have several fast passes for the day. And then once you use one, you can add another fast pass. Now you're not going to have like as many options available, but you can. So
that's what we did when we went last time.
Yes, we did. And it was wonderful. So at the time it was free. I understand that they think they need to make money from that. So that's fine. I would be fine to pay $15 a day per person, or like an extra couple $100 to do the fast pass thing for the whole trip. That's fine. I mean, no one's going to be jumping for joy to like spend extra money for their vacation because it's already so expensive. But I think if they went back to the old system of the fast passes and just made it like a blanket, you can use this if you, let's just say, add this $200 package when you book your vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've paid for it 90 days out, you can book those reservations for fast passes. Instead, now we have this super mega confusing Genie Plus with the Lightning Lane, and it's just
crap.
So much money because you're spending $15 per person per day for Genie Plus you can do Lightning Lanes per person for certain rides, and it's just bizarre.
That's too much.
You can spend
There's too much going on.
No, I mean, it's like any person who goes to Disney World is going to be spending money, unless you're like a Florida resident and you get to go all the time. You're probably not going to buy all of the merchandise, or you're probably not going to snack as much as everyone else. But like for someone like us, who the last time we got to go was 5 years ago because it's so expensive, we are going to buy merchandise. We are going to spend money on food and dining.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're probably not going to be able to afford to do Genie Plus every day. And we're certainly not going to be able to afford to do Lightning Lane very much. So it's just
Okay, so Genie Plus is...
Genie Plus is... Okay.
Just synopsis.
It's so confusing because there's so much that goes into it. Genie Plus is an app that's supposed to help you plan your vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You can pay for Genie Plus. So like, let's just say we're going to Epcot. We can pay, let's just say, I think $15 per person for Epcot, for the Epcot day. That would get us like basic fast passes for certain rides, I think. And then if we wanted to do Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind and we didn't want to pay for Lightning Lane, we'd have to wait in line. I don't know. I'm not the best person to explain it. Okay. It's just silly. It's just too many steps.
Yeah. I agree.
But
That's because I don't understand it at all. So like all I want to do is just like, I just want to ride Rise of the Resistance and the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And if that's all I ride, well, and I want to ride the Ratatouille ride. So if that's all we ride, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. It's just, it's too much.
Yeah. No, I get it.
You shouldn't have to watch a how-to video on like something simple like making a fast pass.
Well, it shouldn't be so stressful.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a vacation. Anyway, I feel like they definitely lost a lot of the magic with that. And if they would just go back to the old fast pass system, I think it was pretty easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that was a big one for me. If they changed that one thing, it would make me so happy.
Yeah, I agree. That like you said, it really like, one, it takes you out of the vacation, and two, it just like, it does lose the magic a lot because it's not like so flowy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, let's go over here and do this. Hey, we got a fast pass for this, and you kind of go on from there. But
yeah.
Okay. What's another thing you got?
So I was going to try to wait till later, but this one keeps popping up in my head. I want Disney to pay a better living wage for its cast members, especially because of how much the CEO makes and how profitable it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should be able, a lot of Disney cast members, I don't know if you know this or not, like have to live out of a motel, or like they have to live out of their car, or they have to have a roommate because they can't afford rent on their salary.
Yep.
And that's pretty common with any profession, but I feel like Disney World used to set the bar for like standard of customer service. And if you're going to do that, you need to pay your people to perform that way. It's almost like everyone who works for Disney needs to be like an entertainer, and you need to pay them like that.
Yeah.
So I think, and I feel like they had been on strike or there was something going on where they were fighting for like a higher working wage, something like that. But I do agree. I think they need to be paid more.
Yeah.
Because I think it was $15 an hour is what they were making right now, and you can make that pretty much anywhere. So. Yeah,
I mean, Disney, I think makes like $400 million or something like that. It's 400 million? No, more than that. 400 billion maybe.
What are you talking about? A year? Probably.
I think it's 400 billion a year or some crazy shit like that.
Mm-hmm. They can afford to pay their people better. Anyway, that's kind of a big one. I think they need to work on that. Hopefully that's something coming in the near-ish future. Another thing, and they're already doing this, is they're getting rid of the reservation system for going to the parks. So right now you have to basically place a reservation to go to Epcot a specific day. And you have to place a reservation to go to Magic Kingdom on a specific day.
Okay.
That's going away. Yeah.
$23.739 billion a year.
29.
23.
23.
Or I'm sorry. In 2023, that's what I meant to say, was 28.739.
Dang.
Or so like end of March of this year. That's what they made for the fiscal year of 12 months prior to that.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of freaking money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think what I'm thinking of, I think Bob Iger is paid $400 million a year or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
And if he was just paid $50 million a year, the other $350 million could go to his staff.
Yeah.
Well, and they would probably be happy with that.
And that's kind of what I'm getting into. And in a little bit, I'm going to talk about the writers and the actor strike that's happening in Hollywood right now because it's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when you said we're talking about like what we would change at Disney, I thought you were meant just like Disney parks and not like as a whole of Disney.
Well, I mean, I was thinking more specifically at the parks, like the workers at the parks.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking like Disney as a whole.
That's like so broad.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that we could talk about.
Well, and that's what made me think. I was like, okay, are we talking about like parks only, or are we talking about Disney as a whole? Because man, Disney as a whole, I can go on a whole rant about.
Oh yeah. Like
just everything that's happening right now. This thing's kind of bullcrap, but we'll stick just to the parks then. Mm-hmm. But when you said that, my mind went to, oh, we're talking about like everything about Disney. Because there's some, like I said, I could really go on a rant about a bunch of crap. But I'm trying to think, because it's so hard for me to think about stuff I would change. Because other than the parking and like you said, the Genie Plus and the Lightning Lane, we haven't been. So it's not like when we come back from the trip, I feel like I'll have a better grasp of like, man, what do they need to change?
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, just overall cost of like everything needs to be dropped down a smidge. Because like the Skipper canteen, it was $28 per plate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, Grayson's definitely eating off our plates during that. Because he won't eat food anyway. Half the time. So I'm like, he can just eat off of our plates.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Disney is notorious for being expensive. That doesn't bother me as much as like the Lightning Lane Genie Plus situation, because everything is already so expensive. That just seems like a very unnecessary expense. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah.
Okay. What else do you have? Or what else have you been thinking about?
Well, a couple of the things they're already bringing back, like the dining plan. I really do like the dining plan. We did that last time, and because of COVID, it went away. But I think it was because of COVID. It was at the same time. Yeah. They are bringing back the dining plan, which is a good thing.
We got like a certain table service meal every day, right? Or how'd that work? Do you remember?
So there's different levels, and we don't know to the extent that the new dining plan is going to be the same as the other one or not. But the one previously, there was like 3 or 4 different options. I don't really remember because it's been like years. But obviously you have a cheap option, a slightly more expensive option, a slightly more expensive option, and then like the really expensive, I think it was called Signature Dining Plan.
I think that's what we got.
No, we didn't. We did
the one below it.
We did Standard Dining Plan, which is I think the one below it, which gives you 1 table service a day, 1 quick service, and 2 snacks.
I don't know.
Or 2 quick services and a snack.
Maybe
something
2 quick
like
services
that.
and a snack.
Or
because quick service is technically at your hotel, right?
Quick service is like anything that you could just walk up and order.
Yeah, so that would be like at your hotel
or anything in the parks. Because I think that's
what we would do for breakfast, and then we'd eat lunch, and then.
Yeah. So I think basically you had a table service credit, a quick service credit, and then 2 snack credits a day. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing because when you're doing that, you don't have to think about, oh, this is money that I spent. You're just like, you're eating, and it's like,
Yeah, you've already
you're not
paid
having to whip out your card
$250 to do this.
Yeah. And it's anytime that you're having to like whip out your card or scan your magic band to spend more money, it takes away a little bit of the magic. So I think having the Disney dining plan is not going to be the best option for every family, but we really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and it definitely kept.
At the end of our trip, we had like, because we didn't use our snack credits every day because we were kind of like less worried about snacking, and we had like 6 snack credits that we had to fill up.
Mm-hmm.
So we just bought a bunch of pastries and cookies and
we went to
stuff.
I think it was the Main Street Bakery.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
And bought a bunch and then packed it up and flew back home.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things that just, again, it kind of keeps the magic alive and keeps you in that Disney bubble without having to like stress out. So it's nice that you can pay for it beforehand with your trip.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
This has been like a really hard one for me to like figure out because, like I said, once we come back from the trip, I feel like if we did this podcast again, I'd have a better like idea of, oh yeah, I would change this next time.
Yeah. What about, so as far as planning our trip so far, has there been anything that has made it more difficult for us than
Money.
you think it needs to be?
Money.
Well, obviously it's expensive. Yeah.
Get that reference from The Office.
Mm-hmm.
What's something to keep you here?
Money.
Yeah, I mean, it's just planning the trip has not been that bad because we have Megan doing it for us practically.
Yeah.
Like we give her the outline of like what we want, and then she just like buttons it down and figures it out. For the most part, that's been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just expensive because we just keep thinking like, well, like there's been a lot of things that have happened recently where it's like we can't help it. We have to pay for this anyway.
Yeah.
On our end,
We've had a lot of
like random expenses that are like eating into the Disney budget kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, it's like, well, crap. And that's what made me think of the Disney, like the parking. I was like, well, we have to pay like $105 to park there for 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's $105 that we could have used to
Had to pay for a whole meal.
yeah, a meal or like $105 worth of like souvenirs.
Yeah. I mean, it's
maybe okay. Something I maybe would change if you stay at the parks or if you stay on resort or what do you call it, on campus,
on property.
On property, yeah. Maybe you should get like a small discount on.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I was just thinking that.
Like at Disney Springs.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay on property, you'd have to scan your magic band and it, pop up like they're staying at Art of Animation or like whatever.
Just like 10% or 15%. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but 10%, that would be a really good incentive for people to stay on property.
And stuff like that I would change maybe. Stuff that I guess would be more not user friendly, but like more lucrative.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, oh yeah, let's go there. Hey, you get 10% off this dining if you stay at Art of Animation. Or like each month, like in the month of September and the month of January, if you stay at Art of Animation, you get 20% off dining.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So or like what's the other ones? All-Star
Music, All-Star Sports.
Yeah, if you stay at these resorts through these months, you'll get 10% off any purchase.
Yeah, I mean they do I think, you know what, I think we got 25% off hotel, and didn't we get like a food credit? We need to ask Megan about the food credit.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down because
okay.
I don't think we've talked about it. But I thought we got like $200 food credit or something.
I don't know, but it cracked me up when you were writing that down. I was like, as she was writing this down in a Crayola orange marker.
I don't know why this marker is on the table, but
probably because Grayson was coloring on the chair.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to think of what else. I really did enjoy that dining plan, but they are bringing some version of it back, which is good.
I can't think of anything, but
They do a lot of great things. This episode is not to say that we don't already love Disney. Like, it should be obvious we have a Disney podcast that we love Disney. We love Disney World. There are so many amazing things that they do. Overall, love it. But no one's perfect. Nothing's perfect.
yeah, I mean, there's a like she said, there's a lot of things that they do that we love, but there's also a lot of things that they do that I hate. And okay, I'm just gonna get into it a little bit about the actors. Did you hear what Bob Iger said about that?
Okay, so I've heard of it. I did not hear exactly what was said.
He said, okay, so obviously there has been a writer strike going on for the better part of like 2 months or so. And, I follow another YouTube channel. It's called Comic Book Cast. And he's more into it because he kind of knows, like writers and more people in Hollywood. So he's kind of had an idea of like what's going on. He's like, well, the actors are going to go on strike. And it hasn't happened in 60 years that the actors and writers have gone on strike. So Bob Iger, I think Wednesday or Thursday, got a contract extension to be the CEO of Disney until 2027. And they did like a whole MSNBC kind of news like interview with him. And he pretty much said what the actors and writers are asking for is absurd, as he's sitting across from this dude and he's making, $400 million a year or whatever he makes a year. So
what are they asking for? I mean, I know they're asking for, is it better wages?
Better wages, especially for the writers.
I could see that more for the writers. I would say overall, and I know hardly anything about this, but I think that they need to have more consistent working hours. Because I know a lot of the times, just from what I've heard listening to podcasts, a lot of times they'll have like super long days.
Oh, the actors?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, everybody on set.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And I think that needs to be a consistent, like, 10-hour day, Monday through Friday.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, some like example, Guardians of the Galaxy, like Drax, Dave Bautista would get, or like Gamora, or anyone with like prosthetic makeup on, they would get there like 4 hours before they had to start shooting, and then shoot for 10 to 12 hours a day.
It's too much.
And then take 2 hours to get it all off. And then you're at like 16 to 18 hours right there or more. Then they go to sleep and they're literally like 4 hours of sleep, back up the next day to do the same thing. So like, yeah, I get Hollywood actors are sometimes overpaid and it's a little crazy to think like they're going on strike, but I do understand where they're coming from on like, if you're going to make us work 18 to 20 hours a day, like we're going to need a better work environment.
I don't necessarily agree with the wage thing, but I completely agree if they're trying to get better working conditions, because that.
I think it's both, but I do know for the writers, one of the guys that wrote the episode with Daredevil and She-Hulk, he wrote the show. He wrote that episode. He's only received one residual check for $396.
What did he get paid just to write the episode?
That.
What?
That's the only thing he's gotten paid.
No way.
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah. So that's the kind of the tricky thing with streaming services, and I don't know a ton about this stuff. So if you want to learn more about it, go listen to the Comic Book Cast on YouTube, because he knows like a lot more about like the details of this kind of stuff. But like writers just get really screwed on a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about it. That's why I'm not going to say a lot, but I feel like they don't get paid a lot, and they should.
So, okay, example, The Big Bang Theory, whenever that show first started airing, like all the actors got like $10,000 an episode or $12,000.
Yeah.
And each year, as the show gets popular and more popular and
It's
more
$1 million
popular,
an episode.
yeah, exactly. And the writers get, a little bit more money, a little bit more money. Now with streaming services, it's like a movie contract. You get paid a certain amount, and that's it. Like, no matter how many times they play that episode, like that's all you get, is that set amount. So that's kind of something that they're changing, that they want changed. Kind of like in 2020 when Scarlett Johansson had the big feud with Marvel and Disney, because they aired the movie on Disney Plus, and she didn't like receive any money at the time.
Yep.
That's a big thing.
Because they went straight to streaming
Disney
instead
Plus.
of, yeah.
Yeah. So she missed out on all like her bonuses that she could have got. I mean, she had a lawsuit against them, so she got some money out of it, or however they settled it. But the streaming service, like, they don't have to give out any data about how many subscribers they have, how much money the episodes, like, how much episodes, or how many episodes, like how many people watch this episode, or like you don't get any data like that, like you do with like normal, like linear television, which is like shows that come out every week.
Yeah, I mean I agree. They need to kind of go back to the old way of doing it, because it incentivizes the actors and the writers to do a better job. Because if you're just getting paid a set dollar amount to do the work, and you're not going to get any additional, it's like servers. They get a base wage, right? But they get tips based on how they perform. So obviously you're going to try to do the best you can if you're going to be receiving tips from it.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar. So like a good server is going to get better tips. Well, an actor who did a really good job is going to have more people continue to rewatch whatever it is.
Yeah.
So there should be some incentive.
Yep. It's just crazy. Like we literally had just a couple of days ago, like something amazing with the Wolverine costume in Deadpool 3. Like we had talked about that last week a little bit. And like, it was like, holy crap, like it's actually happening. Like this past week we got that. And then 2 days later, literally on strike, Deadpool 3 stopped shooting because all the actors are on strike. So like we can't get anything, like pretty much every movie from that isn't being released this year is on hold. We won't probably be getting a whole lot of movies next year. Just like 2020 all over again. Like a dry spell of content. Which kind of sucks.
No, it does, yeah.
Because Deadpool, I think, was supposed to come out in like March or May. I can't remember which one it was supposed to come out. So we were expected to have that movie around that time. Well, with the writer's strike, until that gets resolved, which could take months. And I think like a lot of analysts have said, like, this could not even be resolved until at the end of the year. So that just pushes everything back months. So it just kind of sucks in that aspect. Anyway, I just wanted to get that rant out of there because it was just... we were talking about like things that irritate us about Disney. And I'm just like, Bob Iger, as much as I respect Bob Iger and what he did for Disney for the past, like, how many ever years he's been there, like, he really sounded like an idiot when he did that interview talking about like the wants of them. It's like, it's just really unreasonable. I'm like, well, is it though? Like, how much money do you make a year? It's just crap like that. I just don't understand. Obviously, I don't understand like a lot of things about Hollywood, but there's a percentage that he could. I don't know. It sucks. It sucks because we're not getting content, and like that's the goal of Hollywood, is to do that. Put out content for people to enjoy. With this, we get none of that. No TV shows, no movies. Pretty much everything stops. It's crazy. This happened in, what was it, 2006? 2007? Whenever you like that Moonlight show, and then got canceled.
Yeah. There's so many good shows that got canceled during that era. Yeah, I think it was the 2006, 2007 writer's strike.
Firefly.
People just freaked out.
Yep.
Moonlight. I don't know. I feel like Moonlight was 06 or 07. Yeah.
But
Only
either
got one
way-
season. It was so freaking good. Still to this day, like one of the best vampire shows or movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I thought it's just like a crazy time to be in Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
and like Disney. For the CEO of Disney to say that is crazy. Okay.
I agree. One more thing
Okay.
to kind of bring it back to more Disney parks related.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing that I would change about Disney World is I would add another park.
Oh,
A
yeah.
big one. We've talked about this previously, but I feel like Disney needs another gate. And I feel like if they added another park, it would kind of level out all of the other changes that we were talking about making that might cause them to like lose a teeny bit of profit. Well, this other park would even it out. It would be expensive to open, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd have to pay all the employees and everything. But
Yeah, which I think originally they had talked about opening another park because there was a certain amount of money that they had set aside at this recent Disney conference. You remember that? We talked about that a little bit.
yeah.
So many millions of dollars, and then it got axed because they're cutting back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been Animal Kingdom is the newest park,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been since I think they opened in 2006. Does that sound right? No, it was 97,
I think it's 1998.
97, 98. So it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we're due for a new park. And there's been a lot of parks in Florida that have opened the past couple years, and we've got a couple more coming. And so I think that in order to kind of ward off the competition, they're going to have to do something pretty drastic.
Yeah. So April 22nd, 1998. I was right.
Okay.
Well, I just watched a video the other day talking about when the parks were made, what years.
Yeah, so 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
We need a new park. That's pretty much it that I can think of right now. There's a lot of things that Disney does right. If you guys want, we can definitely do an episode talking about the things that we appreciate the most that Disney does. I feel like that would be a little bit more positive. Yeah. Because there are a really lot of things that we love about Disney, obviously.
So for the thumbnail, you should put like Mickey in like a devil costume.
Oh my
like
God.
things we hate about Disney. As you're thinking about it, you're like, yeah, we should do that.
Well, I'm trying to think of what I'm going to even do, but
Well, yeah,
that's pretty much it for today.
yeah. Let's we'll finish this podcast up here. Thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed this very hateful episode. And make sure you check out our Instagram and like and subscribe on YouTube. And thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you in the next one.